Hey guys, it's Katie. How are you doing? We have a little bit of a different stream today. We actually have a new case that just came into my inbox yesterday. A family that is in Tennessee that needs help finding their kids. So we are going to be joined today by two family members of the children that are missing. We have a 3-year-old out of Tennessee that named Noah Clare, who has not been seen since November 5th, and 16-year-old Amber Clare, who is cousins to Noah, and they are with Noah's father, who is Jacob Clare, and all three of them have not been heard from since November 5th, 2021. You can't hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, my audio is on. Okay. Make sure that your audio is on. Now, because this topic is not super well known, we're going to need your help from the audience to make sure that you can share this so that you can help us get the posters out so that you can help us bring awareness for this. Obviously, anytime I bring up a brand new topic onto this channel, it's going to be a challenge to make sure that you guys get to see this. And it's super important on this one. We want to help this family out as much as possible. So I'm going to bring on Adam Ennis, who is Noah's uncle. And I have James Holt, who is Amber's uncle, and he appears to have lost me in he's like got shoddy service. So right now I'm going to bring on Adam, and we're just going to talk because these two kids, and I'll show you, I'm just going to show you a picture so that we can see what they look like. So this is Amber and Noah. Now, despite Noah looking like a 5-year-old, he's actually 3, and his dad happens to be 6'7". So this is who they are believed to be with, who is James, and these are the missing kids. All right, so I'm going to bring on Adam now. This is Adam. You'll have to unmute your video. There you go. And there you go. Hi, Adam. We are live.
Hello. The audio that I'm receiving from your end is pretty bad. I'm not sure if it's doing the same on your end for me, but it sounds really, really deep and really slow.
On like live, it sounds bad and slow? Or just in general? It was cutting out, but it's fine now. Can you hear me, Adam?
Yeah, I can't understand you.
Do you want to try
I'm not sure if we need to restart this or what.
Do you want to grab a new link, or do you want to jump out and jump back in and see if that'll work?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys. We were talking and communicating just fine, and now James is gone. And here comes James. Okay. James, hi.
Sorry about that.
No. Having some trouble with Adam's audio right now. He was having a hard time hearing me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I just got to a bigger town on the highway, so we've got plenty of service now.
Okay. So James is on the road, so he'll be a little bit spotty at times, but we're going to talk today about your niece has been missing since November 5th. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just missed like the last 5 seconds.
Oh, I said your niece has been missing since November 5th.
Yeah, November 5th.
Okay.
Friday, about The last time anybody seen her was about 9:30 when she went to bed.
Okay. So tell me what can you tell us about like how this all occurred? Ugh. Are you there? Okay, so Amber went missing on November 5th. She left a note for her family. And now he's gone. Oh my goodness. We were having all of our connection issues were totally fine. Hello.
Folks, I am so sorry. I'm having just a hard time.
Which way do we go?
Go straight, because
Okay, and I sent the link to Adam. Let's see if Adam.
More time.
I'm sorry. I'm going to try to reload this one more time here.
Can you hear me, Adam? Adam?
Hey, the audio's still logging onto a laptop and seeing if that makes a difference, but we may need just to pause this and restart it.
Can you hear me? I think it's their connection. My connection's good. I'm so sorry, you guys. Trying. Okay. James.
Yes.
Okay, you're here. All right. Adam's having some trouble here. But let's talk about Amber. She went missing on November 5th. What can you tell me about like how did this all come to be? Like,
Yeah, so, back in June, they severed, we cut off contact with Jake because of, just some weird messages that just seemed inappropriate between, not only an uncle and a niece, but, an adult and a minor. It just wasn't, your typical relationship type conversations that you'd see in the messages that were found. So, they cut off all contact with Jake. At the time, he was living with them. So they cut off all contact with him. And, at that time, Amber just kind of, her whole demeanor kind of changed. Before then, she was super positive, outgoing, a lot funny, laughing all the time, hanging out with the family. And after that, she kind of tucked herself away in the bedroom, kind of isolated herself. And that kind of brings us up to November 5th when, she went to bed that evening. Everybody thought everything was still normal. Your usual typical day. And, that morning, Anna, her sister, found a note in her bedroom, which was, or a letter basically saying goodbye. And, of course, Anna, super close relationship with Amber. She freaked out and went into Amber's bedroom where she found, the bed was still kind of, it looked like she made the bed up to look as if somebody was laying in the bed so that it didn't raise suspicion, maybe give her a little bit more time. And of course, she found another letter on the bed. But that's pretty much, November 5th for Amber's side of the family.
so with Amber going missing, she leaves a note. What was in the note in regards to like why did she say why she was leaving? Did she say what their plan was? Any details there?
The letter to Anna was, a lot of, kind of like apologizing, letting her know to stay positive, that kind of stuff. In the note to Anna specifically, she talks about, if you ever, want to see me or visit me, you can make a grave in the backyard and come visit me anytime you want. And these parts that I mentioned are just kind of like those parts in the letter that you're like, what? Why would you say that?
Yeah.
Or is there any more behind this, that kind of stuff. And then she also kind of talked about, anytime you look up at the stars, just know I'll be looking back at you. So it was really just kind of a compassionate, like, I love you. This is what I'm doing because, I love, you know, I love y'all, but I'm going.
So Amber is 16 years old,
Just
and
extremely heartbreaking.
yeah, for sure. Not the kind of leather that any mother wants to find from their daughter. And so she's with her so she's 16, and she has left with her 35-year-old cousin, or no, uncle, who happens to be her dad's brother.
Right.
Right. And there is a belief that there's inappropriate relationship happening here, where he has been grooming her for years, and there is some concern that she is in a vulnerable situation in this position. And currently, the police are not considering her a missing person, but rather a runaway, which is, how does that impact the search for her?
Sorry, give me just a second.
Okay, while you're having issues, let me bring on Adam. Adam, you are Noah's uncle. Hello, Adam. Oh, okay.
Hey, Amanda is my sister.
Okay.
And Noah is her son.
Okay. So Noah, who is 3 years old, let me just show you. And he's a big boy. He's a big guy. He's super cute, but he's only 3. He just happens to have tall parents.
Yes.
So a lot of people were like, super cute. Some of the people were like, are you sure he's 3? And I'm like, yes, he's 3. Okay. So Noah has not been seen since November 5th.
Correct. My sister, it was Jake's weekend to watch Noah, and my sister met Jake and Jake's mother at their normal spot. Nothing was really out of the ordinary because Jake, he had sold his truck a few weeks earlier, and so Jake's mom brought him down, which we already knew that. And so my sister, dropped Noah off, kissed him goodbye, and just went about her day. Nothing, not thinking anything would happen. And then it wasn't until Saturday morning at about 10:30, my mother called me and said, "Hey, we can't get a hold of Jake. We think he's taken Noah." And sitting there thinking, like, well, why is this? It's his weekend. Why do you think he took him? And she told me, well, Amber's missing too, and that whole family's trying to get a hold of Jake to let him know that Amber's missing. Now that was something I believe the family told us Saturday.
Okay.
It didn't really unravel until Monday or Tuesday that Jake's family had stopped Jake from seeing Amber because of some inappropriate stuff that was going on between them.
Okay. So mom didn't have any idea about anything that might have been happening with Jake and Amber?
None of my family had a clue.
Okay.
We thought it was odd that Amber would come with Jake every time Jake would come and pick Noah up. We did think that was a little strange, but other than that, we didn't have anything confirmed. We had our suspicions from some past things that we've seen and kind of observed ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, nothing confirmed, so we couldn't put pen to paper on that.
So whatever was happening was being kept very secretive.
Absolutely, yeah. There, like I said, red flags all over the place, but as far as custody goes, you can't just go for red flags. There has to be some sort of concrete evidence.
Yeah, and unfortunately, those kinds of accusations can be used like as tactical weapons. So it's like people will make things up. So obviously, your sister wants to be extremely careful about knowing what's happening here. So there's red flags, but there's not like anything concrete here. And exactly. It sounds like his custody was just established like in September, right?
It was. I believe they had gone from maybe a couple days a week to every other weekend. So they had just started getting overnights a month or two ago, where normally it was like a 7 in the morning to 7 at night kind of thing.
Okay. So how would they be like, how would you guys have described him as a father? Like, were there any concerns outside of like the red flags with Amber? Was there any concerns about his caring of Noah?
I don't think so. And that's honestly one thing that's keeping some hope with us. You know, we know that Jake does love Noah. So that's, gives it a little relief as far as us not thinking that he would ever do anything to Noah.
Yeah, his Instagram is just filled with photographs of him with Noah.
Yeah.
And your sister and he were obviously together at some point, and then within the last couple of years had split up.
Right. We had my sister had started seeing signs as far as Jake's mentality.
Okay.
I guess is a good way to put it. I wouldn't peg him as a hard right-leaning Republican, but he does show signs of being just absolutely endured with Donald Trump.
Okay.
I know James probably mentioned some of this in his last YouTube video, but he was a conspiracy theorist.
Okay. So not necessarily in reality. And we've seen firsthand how some of these people that have gotten off the deep end here have like gotten themselves into really scary situations. Yeah. So I noticed on his Instagram, he was like trying to promote like some sort of like natural like life thing. I don't really know what that was about. What was he? Now they said that at some point in time, he becomes homeless and then he moves in with Amber's family. During that, during the time that was going on, was he seeing Noah, and was Noah going over to Amber's place with?
Not as often.
Okay.
Because obviously Noah didn't really have a bed to sleep in, so my sister wouldn't, let Noah go up there. And I believe that's when some overnight stuff stopped, because, again, there was an apartment with a lot of children and older individuals in there.
So just if you're just coming on right now, what we have on who we have on here is James is the top in the blue, and this is Amber's uncle. Amber is 16 years old, and she left willingly, but I don't know that you can really say willingly here because it's pretty clear that Jacob, her uncle, has groomed her into an inappropriate relationship and has convinced her that they're going to be some sort of family with Noah. And below me here is Adam, and this is Noah's uncle, who happens to be Noah's mom's brother. And this is James, is Amber's mom's brother. Got it? These two are not related. They're on different sides of the family. And neither one of them are Claire's, because apparently Amber's dad is not involved. Is that correct?
Yes. I know that all sounds confusing, but you got it spot on.
Okay. It is very confusing. So who is Noah's father? That is Jacob, who they're with. So Jacob Clare is this guy. Got it? So Jacob Clare is said to have taken these guys, and they are on the run. They were last seen in this car, which is a 2005 Subaru Legacy with a license plate of, I think, 42MY10 Tennessee tags. It has a lot of stickers on it. The TBI, which is the Tennessee, whatever you call it,
Tennessee
Bureau of Investigation,
has a photograph of the actual car on the freeway. And beyond that, that's like what they have. There's been some sightings of her in Alabama. And then this person says that there was the Geneva, Alabama says that she's been there within the last 48 hours. What do we know about that?
We don't know if that's confirmed yet.
Okay.
I believe this is the one. This is the sighting where someone saw him trying to purchase a boat in a Piggly Wiggly parking lot. If that was true in any sense of the word, we would have gotten a confirmation from the detectives, but we have not gotten a confirmation from that yet.
Okay. So with them possibly being like in multiple states, is the FBI involved at all? Or is that complicating things right now?
It is, yeah. I don't know if the FBI is involved. I believe the TBI is kind of a branch of the FBI, so I guess you could say they might be.
Yeah, it's like the state portion of the FBI, just like you said, kind of like the branch.
Yeah. So no, Amber is not Noah's mom. Amber is Jacob's niece, and she is Noah's cousin. Okay. So
Yes.
Amber is 16 years old, and she is in high school, and she is the niece of Jacob Clare. Jacob Clare's son is Noah. Noah and Amber are cousins, first cousins. And
Yes.
Amber has been groomed by Jake, is what Amber's family is saying, into an inappropriate relationship. And they believe that there's an inappropriate relationship going on here. That's about all we know at this point. We don't have anything beyond that. There's been letters, and their communication was cut off between them in June, and that information was not provided to the mother on Noah's mom. So there's been some miscommunication between the families, but the families at this point are united, and just putting aside any frustration at this point to find their kids.
Exactly.
So Noah, you guys don't. So let's go back to where you said on Tuesday. Things start to sort of hit the fan at this point, where you, Adam, really realize that Noah is not coming back.
We realized that Sunday evening. Jake was supposed to bring Noah back at 6 p.m. Same meeting spot, the Sumner Station emergency room, I believe, in Gallatin, Tennessee. Of course, they didn't show up, and we had cops there with us because my mom, she had a feeling in her gut that he wasn't going to show up, and she had that feeling on Saturday whenever we got wind that Amber was missing as well.
So they declared Noah a missing and endangered child, I think, on Tuesday.
Yeah, they declared him missing on Sunday night.
Sunday night. Okay.
It took a while to actually get it bumped up from missing to endangered.
Okay. And what is the so here is the actual poster, and it's actually, I'm gonna say they've updated the car information on here, but this is what they've put out on Twitter, and it just has Noah Clare listed, and it has Jacob Clare. So Noah is 3 years old. He's got brown hair, blue eyes. He's 3 feet 5 inches. Wow, he's tall for 3. He's 40 pounds. He's a big kid. And then we've got Jacob Clare, who's 35. He's 6'7". He obviously, you can see he's got tattoos, a sleeve, I think they said, going down his left hand side. And then he has a tattoo on his right forearm that says Claire. And then he has a wraparound on his upper muscle on the right side, they said. And he's got brown hair and blue eyes. Some say hazel eyes. It's conflicting here. They were driving a 2005 Subaru Legacy, and Noah was wearing gray sweatpants and a camo shirt and a black jacket with black shoes. And he's in the company of Jacob. Jacob, there is now a warrant for Jacob's arrest. What's the warrant for?
Custodial interference at this point.
Okay. And despite the fact that he's a 3-year-old and he is with a clearly unstable man who is grooming a 16-year-old girl, there's not an Amber Alert. What do you know about that?
There has not been. I know, I guess going back to the beginning, Kentucky Police Department, specifically Ohio County Police Department, they have been extremely unhelpful in getting any sort of word spread and really in working with the Gallatin Police Department. I know that there's specific criteria to get this bumped up to an Amber Alert.
Mm-hmm.
One of those being immediate danger to the child.
Yeah.
And one thing we did find out is that Amber, she's taking a seizure medication, whether that's to prevent seizures or make them less harmful. I don't know, but our detective here in Gallatin said that should be enough for Kentucky to bump it up to an Amber Alert.
Yeah, and I'm shocked at this point that Amber's listed as a runaway. I can't believe in any world where this would actually be the truth. Where a 16-year-old who's been brainwashed by her uncle would be considered a runaway. What 16-year-old girl thinks she's going to become a mom to a 3-year-old? You know, that's just not logical. And that 3-year-old happens to be her uncle's kid. That's so.
Yeah, there are. I'm sorry. There are even portions, and this hasn't actually come out yet, but I will talk about it just a little bit. Reviewing even some of her homework that she brought home. She kind of like grades herself as a parent as if she's been talked to about, being Noah's mom at some point in time. She doesn't specifically know Noah, but she talks about, how effective she would be as a parent. I don't have a source of income, but I love Noah. And also this was on one of her homework papers that we discovered last night after going through her folder. So, and in regards to even the seizure medication, she's still going through clinical trials, or not trials, but seeing physicians and trying to understand what's causing the seizures. They don't believe she's epileptic, but the seizure medication that they gave her to at least treat some of those seizures and stop her from having those seizures was very effective. She even talks about that in one of her letters. Like, I have seizures really bad. They're trying to figure out what happens, but I've been taking this medication for 6 months and it's helping a lot. And, to Adam's point, she doesn't have her seizure medication. So.
And do you know, like, if she's not on it, like, what's the likelihood that she would have a seizure? Like within days, weeks?
It's hard to say, because when she started taking the medication, she didn't have a portion of time that I know of where she didn't have it. So we don't know how long it could be. It could, to your point, it could be, 24 hours, could be 48 hours, it could be a week. I don't know. We haven't, experienced that before. So.
And would Jake be able to, like, even manage that? Does he have any?
I have no. He doesn't have a medical background.
Okay. So she's a 16-year-old girl, vulnerable with seizure disorder, that doesn't have her medication.
Exactly.
Okay. And Jake is her blood uncle. Yes. So where with Noah, we are still do not have her listed as a missing person. She's considered a runaway. And Noah is considered an endangered child. So what have you guys had any tips on where they might be going, or like was anything in any notes that would say like where they might be, what their plan was?
I mean, the only tip that we had in terms of where they would be going, when he was at, I believe it was a trampoline park, right, Adam?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was where Jake's mom brought Jake. Originally, he had left the gray Subaru at the parking lot of the trampoline park on Thursday night, and then left. I don't recall. I can't say without a doubt who he left with or what he left in. And then on Friday, his mother brought him to the trampoline park, and he tells his mother, I'm going to spend some time with Noah here at the trampoline park, and then I'm going to take him to the Smoky Mountains. And that's the last time anybody's had contact with Jake, and that's the only tip that we had. Now, if he gave credible information to his mother about where he was going or not, nobody knows. But that's the only thing that we have to go off of in terms of, where he was going. Now, a lot of the sightings have been in Knoxville. A lot, probably the most tips, I would say, in terms of Facebook about seeing that car have been around the Knoxville area. Am I correct, Adam?
Yeah, we've had a few there, and then of course we've had a few in South Alabama as well.
Yeah, people keep bringing up this Alabama post. So the Geneva, Alabama Police Department did not confirm. I'm looking at it right now. They did not say that they were there. They've simply shared a poster. That's all that's on there. So there's a current poster on there that has all of their information. There's also a Facebook page, which is your Facebook page, which is it's Find Noah and Bring Amber. Well, there's a group, Bring Amber Clare and Noah Clare Home. That's a group. Mm-hmm. And then you also have a Facebook page.
Yeah, we started a Facebook page because there are two separate groups, and we understand it's confusing. That's probably it's frustrating for us too, because there has been a little bit of confusion. So we created the Bring Amber and Noah Home Facebook page specifically so folks could go to that page to get accurate information that's only posted by myself and Adam, so it's accurate. And it's
and
not
that page
something
is called Bring
Amber and Noah Home, and it's a Facebook page. It's not a group. There have been so many other groups that have popped up. People are creating groups. Some of them are accurate information, and some of them are just completely off the wall. But nothing's going to be as accurate as the Facebook page that Adam and myself manage.
Right. And we definitely appreciate these groups that have been created, because we've gotten some great ideas and great tips from people.
Absolutely.
And in regards to that tips thing, if you see someone post a comment, "Oh, I saw this car somewhere," tell them to report that to the police. Do not tell them to forward that information to us, because that's just an extra step in this whole process.
So that's such a good point, Adam. A lot of times with these missing persons cases, they decide that they're going to blast it all over the internet, and that can actually tip off Jake that people know where he is.
Exactly.
Yep.
So if you see him, please, not on the Facebook groups, call TBI. Let them follow up with it, because we don't want any false information out there.
Definitely.
So what is some of the prevailing false information, anything that you want to clear up about what's been out there so far?
I've seen stuff as far-fetched as, a 40-foot RV being stolen, which if you're trying to hide a kid and a child, you're not going to steal a massive RV. And then even as off the wall as some guy telling us that in the first picture we got of the car in the trampoline park, some guy told us that Jake was wearing a ghillie suit behind the car the whole time. So it has been, some sort of just different thinking, and then some thinking that's just doesn't need to be said. It's just off the wall stuff.
Some of the biggest things that have come up about Amber, I would say the biggest thing, and I really want to make sure this is out there, really want everybody to be very clear on this. If we find Amber, we find Noah. If we find Noah, we find Amber. Yes, it's possible. It's very possible we could find one without the other. It is so highly unlikely. And what I see on some of the groups is, Amber went back home, or Amber came back home, or they found Amber, and it's just not the case, folks. So it's tough, right? Because the issue here is we have two different cases out of two different states, so they're covered differently. One's out of Tennessee, one's out of Kentucky. So Tennessee will post stuff on their either news sites or even the police department pages, but only pertains either to Noah and Jake, and vice versa. Kentucky may only post stuff about Amber and Jake, and it causes some confusion. Oh, Noah must have been found, or Amber must have been found, and it's
right.
It's just not the case.
And then TBI is really only focusing on Noah,
unfortunately.
Yeah. So there's been nothing credible for. So we'll find the kids together. It's believed that they are together. And the reason why it's believed that they're together is that based on the letter that she left, Nobody's
Yeah,
nobody.
I mean,
To be clear, nobody's been in contact with any of them, right?
No.
No. Okay.
correct.
Did Jake have any resources, any friends out of state that would be willing to help him with this?
Not that we know of. On my end, we have seen some posts for like dad advocacy groups.
Oh God.
Yeah, and
There's a
then
bunch of them.
those kind of people may not know the full story between him and my sister, and they may just be may have their blinders on as far as helping Jake get his child. That's always a scary thing to think of because that's their mission. They want to advocate for dad's rights, and if Jake has a few people helping him on that end, who knows? They could be part of the Facebook page. And again, that goes back to our point: don't post on there when you see tips. Call your local authorities. Call TBI. Because we don't know who's helping Jake through all this. He may be by himself, or he may have a couple of accomplices, on the outside. We just don't know at this point.
Was there any concern that he would lose custody that would make him want to run like this?
Well, yes. Going back to what I said in the beginning of this interview, the recent findings between him and Amber, we think that since is now, James, you may know more about this being on that side of the family, but I believe I'm correct in saying that Jake was essentially cut off from everyone since that relationship was revealed, right?
Yeah, and
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Sorry, can you guys hear me? I'm breaking up on the audio a little bit.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, and just to Adam's point, I mean, that's things were really starting to kind of come out, and that's probably what scared Jake into this because, obviously they were cut off from contact in June. As, Amber and Jake's relationship continues to grow closer and closer and closer, right? And, it becomes much harder to hide that, right? And if it came out, whether it be the messages or, they got caught, whether it's communicating or whatever, there's a high, right? There's a huge chance he would lose all his rights to Noah. So that's definitely possibly a really big reason why he chose to up and run.
Had there been recent discoveries by her mom, or had there been anything found before this that there was suspicion that this was still going on?
No, not that, Jamie, her mother, or RC, her father, there's nothing since June that's really come up that's raised any red flags. There was maybe a couple of times where, I remember one of Amber's sisters talking about, because Jake wasn't allowed at the house, but he was in a vehicle that was coming to the house at some point in time, and they made him stop. They made them, stop way down the road. They didn't want them coming close to the property. But when Amber, saw Jake in the vehicle, she lit up and she looks and, automatically she's happy, she's excited, and she's waving. And so there may have been small things like that popped up, but nothing really big that, that we've seen.
Okay.
Since June, that is.
And this was all and to be clear, I want to be clear, there was never, it was only a suspicion, right? There wasn't anything concrete, or was there something concrete that caused the cutoff?
So it's funny that you mentioned that because it's probably the biggest thing that's hard to really wrap your mind around without truly seeing, some of these things as they happen, or if you capture them either in messages or even on picture or video. But Jake's method, and you can see this by visiting his Instagram, you can see the confidence that he has in manipulating a young girl. Just if you visit his Instagram, you see just kind of the ways he plays with either, Amber or, uh,
There was like this
and
mud
she
fight,
makes,
where he's like
right.
the cool uncle kind of thing.
Exactly. And I'm glad you can put some of that context behind it, because it just looks like, Jake's this cool uncle. He's having fun. The kids always want to be around him. And he does have that more of a young, he hasn't grown up yet type of personality. And, the kids love it, but you can see kind of how he interacts, and it just comes off as, he does it with such confidence. He does it with, he manipulates and kind of does these things that are, you look at it and you're like, man, that's no, we're not going to do that. Next time, that's just not the way that we're going to, wrestle or play with the kids or any of that kind of stuff. But he does it with such confidence, and it kind of makes you question yourself. Like, was it really inappropriate?
Yeah.
Am I being just overly cautious? And
Yeah.
that's the kind of vibe that it passes. And it allowed him to do it for so long. And you see that now that you know it, and you look back at these Instagrams, these pictures that you're showing, if you look at these pictures, every single one of those pictures
Is with a girl.
he's playing with Amber,
Yeah.
or Amber is, chasing him. He's got all these kids around him, but all of his attention is
Is
focused
on
on
Amber.
Amber.
Yeah. There's also a photo
And
of her sitting on his lap. Let me see if I can find that. Where and this is what, I mean, I think this is what these kind of people do. They groom the whole family. They make it seem like everything is normal when it's not normal, and they use their position as the trusted uncle, to do this kind of stuff, so that you would never
the trusted
know.
uncle, the fun uncle, the uncle that comes and helps out with things.
Yeah.
It's just it's all a facade.
So how long had he been, how long would you say he had been hyper-focused on Amber?
So initially, and I mean, that's a really good question, because initially we thought, from the time maybe that he moved in, because he was living with Amber, the kids, and keep in mind, there's 6 kids in that household.
Yeah.
There's 4 girls and 2 boys, and then of course RC, which is their stepdad, and Jamie, the mom.
Yep.
So, they initially moved down to Kentucky to be closer, to some of the family, so that the kids could, get to know their cousins more, get more involved with Jake, because dad's out of the picture, all this stuff. So they moved down here, and then of course Jake needed help, which is his MO. He always needs help. That's how he bounces around from girlfriend to girlfriend. And Adam can probably speak more on this, but he'll leech off of the way that he does it. He does it with such confidence, and he is a tall, attractive guy, fit. He works out, so he's really welcomed in terms of being able to make a connection with a girl that he's dating or whatever. But as soon as she realizes that he's not going anywhere, he's not going to keep a job, he's not going to help supply or pay any bills or any of that kind of stuff. So those relationships typically they don't last very long. But he needed help. Jamie, RC, the dad, they let him live there. So initially they thought, well, maybe it's just from September 2020 to June 2021. Maybe that's the time that he's been, like you said, hyper focused on Amber. But when you go back and start looking at either his Instagram or her Instagram, or even pictures maybe that I took when I was up visiting and stuff, you can kind of see that it's been he's been focused on her for many years.
Yeah,
it's hard to put a number behind it, but I can tell you it's over 5 years.
Yeah, there's a photo of her on his lap from 2019. Here we go. This is them, such a fun day with family. And that's her. That's June of 2019. Right. So she would have been, what, 14 here?
Yes.
Okay. So he's always around. He's using his position as like the trusted uncle to get into these positions. He's mooching off women. And Adam, you said Adam could speak to the fact that he kind of uses women and takes advantage of them.
Oh yeah, my hang on one second, I'm just writing something down. Yeah, he definitely took advantage of my family. We all initially liked him. He seemed like a good guy, veteran. Came off as a hard worker, and honestly, he probably is a hard worker. That's one thing I'd give him. But we were. You're in the video, Mom. I know you don't want to be. Oh. Yeah, service level, decent guy. It took maybe 6 months to a year for us to kind of really figure out the type of person he is, and that was really just that type of person was a really mentally unstable individual.
Yeah,
and we found that out from stories he shared with us. Things he thought that was very interesting as far as outlandish stuff like aliens. He would send us videos and saying, "Man, I think I saw something last night. I think they're watching me." And then even to a certain point, this kind of goes with his Universal Awakening page that he does, which if you haven't been on there, I would highly recommend going on Universal Awakening. It's an Instagram that basically
he has it set to private. I tried to look at it.
I believe there's a YouTube channel you can go on.
Oh, there's a YouTube channel. Okay, I'll check out the YouTube channel. So he's now, okay, so now we're at a position where we are today, and he has had this hyper focus on Amber, and now he's taken his son. Is there any concern for their safety? Like, how are they treating this in terms of he's considered endangered? But the warrant is only for custodial interference.
Right. Again, that goes back to us saying there's nothing really concrete about anything that he has done in the past. Mental instability is something that's hard to prove when you're working with something as sensitive as this. So
it's wild to me that the police wouldn't think that messages between him and Amber wouldn't be concrete proof that he's not a danger to these kids.
Yeah, no, I agree. Unfortunately, we found out about these messages a few days too late. That's one thing I know a few people regret holding to themselves, but at this point we've just got to come together and get them back. And we can't work apart from each other. We've got to work together.
Yeah.
And going back to your point, I don't believe he would do anything to hurt Amber or Noah unless he was more or less backed into a corner and he had to choose between himself and them. And that's a scary thought, honestly, because he's a narcissist. Bottom line, he thinks he's better than everyone else, and it's an interesting situation as far as that goes.
So how is your sister doing with all of this?
She's hanging in there. I'm sure any mother would tell you if someone ever took their kid, they would search the world up and down for them. Unfortunately, we can't get around the world in that short amount of time. So the most we can do right now is just share it. All your friends, your neighbors, your family. Hell, if you haven't talked to someone in a long time who might live in a different state, just shoot them a quick message. Hey, I thought you might like to see this. There's a little boy who's missing from his family. They're devastated, as any parent or parent would be. Please pass this along to your community.
For sure. If you're watching, do us a favor and give the videos thumbs up, because that will help it in the algorithm. Also, when we're done today, make sure that you help share this. Personal stories definitely help in this context so people can understand more about the backstory. So tell me a little bit about Noah. What is Noah like, Adam?
Man, he's the most adorable little boy I've ever been around. He most outgoing. Always has a smile on his face, and he'll talk to anyone, which goes with me saying outgoing. Um, and he loves his dad. And he loves his mom. I'm thankful that I'm thankful that we believe he at least trusts his dad, so he's not terrified right now.
Yeah.
And we're thankful that he's fairly young, so he doesn't really understand what's going on.
I'm assuming he's very attached to his mama, though.
He is. I would be shocked if he hadn't broken down more than a handful of times, to both Jake and Amber about missing Amanda, his mother.
And then you have to wonder what he's telling Noah about mom.
Yeah, we already know some stuff he said about us, and some of it's extremely manipulative, and that's, of course, goes to his personality. He's just got an extremely manipulative personality. Looking back at it, I think one of the things my sister told me yesterday, whenever Jake dropped Noah off, or one of the last times, a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, was that, don't worry, buddy, I'll see you soon, and we'll be able to get our time together. Which, hindsight's 2020. That was something that should have kind of popped a red flag up. But like I said, he's always been extremely manipulative. And
so, in another, I was going to say, with the manipulation stuff, in another case that I covered, the dad used social media to try to spin the mom as the danger to the child. And that was the reason why they had to flee. And he also had a dad's rights group trying to say that they had to protect the girl from the dad. Has there been any social media behavior by him at all in the last week? Has there been any social media posts that he might be trying to manipulate people about the mom?
Absolutely. He started, and I know this is on our page, and my family found out about this last year, but he started a GoFundMe to try to raise money to pay for lawyer fees so that he could get equal custodial rights, which, if he had a stable job, if he had insurance, if he had a roof over his head, equal rights is fine. But he had none of those. He didn't have a stable job. He was kind of, I wouldn't say living on the streets, but he's living in not the lifestyle that any sort of parent should bring their child into.
Sure.
Yeah.
I saw that GoFundMe and I was like, oh God, it's still active too.
Yeah, it's still active. I'm kind of shocked that they haven't received enough emails to take it down. But yeah, and like I said in recent past posts, we do have reason to believe he's been involved with some dad advocacy groups, and he's posted really do confirm that.
Some of these dad advocacy groups are super right wing, like totally conspiracy wing nuts. And some of these groups are actually run by dads who are abusers and rightfully lost custody of their children and want to claim that it was a lie. Is the custodial system perfect? No, but I feel like a lot of times with these groups, the men that are the worst are the ones that get the most help. And it's really unfortunate. So
Yeah.
if he's not, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to just because you guys mentioned it, but I saw a lot of that on some of those on some of the groups and even our groups where you see well maybe he's just a really good dad and he's just trying to have a long weekend, or maybe mom doesn't treat him right and he wanted to take Noah because mom's abusive or stuff, and that's just not the case. And it's so sad to see stuff like that, but that comes from a lot of those conspiracy groups like that, or dad advocacy groups like that. And looking at that, especially as a dad, you see some of these situations and it's easy to feel like it's an unfair system. It really is. But at the same time, before jumping in, especially with something like this where families are just devastated. They're missing their kids.
Yep.
Just maybe think twice before posting on that kind of stuff, those kind of comments. But those advocacy groups, they'll do it on purpose to try to spin that perception out with the
Yeah.
group.
And they're really good about utilizing social media to twist narratives, which is, I haven't seen this yet with him. So I don't know. In the other case that I'm covering, that group was instrumental in that whole thing going viral. So let's just hope they're not as involved, because it can get really ugly. So with regards to Noah, he's a really personable kid. He's the kind of kid that would like go up to a stranger, it sounds like, and say hi. And are there things that like he would be, if someone were to see him out, like what are some of his favorite things that he would be doing?
Yeah, if he's happy, then he loves dancing. You know, if any sort of his favorite songs come on, used to be, last year used to be Baby Shark.
Oh,
Recently it was some ninja, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or some rap that he loved dancing to. You know, he's got, like I said, outgoing personality, and he shows it, and through his actions as well.
wonderful. I'm so sorry that this is happening. Like, so we don't have any solid leads right now about where he is. The stuff in Alabama, when y'all went down there, did they find anything?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Was there any connection to Alabama? Is there any reason why he would go to Alabama?
I can't think of any. James, can you?
Yeah, well, the Peanut Festival, and I forget, I'm really bad with celebrities and names, but there's a country artist that was performing at the Peanut Festival down there in Dothan, Alabama, and we figure, you know, maybe to continue to try to butter her up, or you know, hey, we're going to go on an adventure, we're going to go visit this concert, and you know, you can see the person live and do all this kind of stuff. So when we got those tips down there in Dothan, Alabama, that's the first thing we thought about. Maybe he's trying to appease her and take her down to a concert before everything else, so that it's more of an adventure type thing for her. And then, you know, maybe she just never gets to come home. We don't know. But, you know, when her dad RC and her brother Jake, or her brother Austin, went down there to investigate those leads, you know, they were out there tirelessly day and night, just, you know, all over the place trying to talk to people, and just nothing came of it.
Nothing came of it. So this is something I want to address, just me. I keep seeing this question coming up. Any chance they went to run off and get married? I feel like this just needs to be addressed, because it's illegal in every single state for an uncle to marry a niece. It's illegal in every 50 states. This is not a consensual relationship. If it's a relationship, she is a 16-year-old child. He is 35 years old. He has groomed her. He is a predator. This is not a situation where this is a couple that's in love. This is an unequal relationship. There's a power imbalance, and it's illegal in every 50 states to not only marry your niece, but also he's 35 and he's 16. The state of Tennessee, where she is from, the legal age of consent is 18. So he has stepped over so many lines that I think that's, to me, one of the more destructive narratives, is that somehow this is a consensual relationship, and there's absolutely no way it could be.
Yeah, he's definitely sold her a bill of goods. It's not real.
I really want to thank you for making that very clear, because we need that to be extremely clear. This is not legal. This is not right.
No, I've seen so much blaming of her already, and it's heart-wrenching. I'm a mother. I have a 9-year-old, and if anyone in my family did something like this, I mean, put yourself in the shoes of Amber's mom and everyone around her. This is ex's brother. You don't expect your ex's brother to pursue your daughter and manipulate and brainwash her into a non-consensual incestuous relationship. That crosses every boundary. That's over, like, no. She's a child. Her brain is not fully developed. This is someone she loved and was, you know, he was probably love bombing her, giving her all kinds of attention, making her feel so special. Dad is not in the picture, but she has a stepfather. Noah, okay, so let's go back to Noah was wearing sweatpants. What was he wearing when you last saw him, Adam?
I believe it was gray sweatpants, black shoes, and a camo shirt.
Okay. And they were using, this is the car. It's a 2005 Subaru Legacy. It's got Tennessee license plates. 42MY10 is the tag number.
Correct. And those are my understanding from the previous owner.
Okay. And the recent photograph that TBI put out actually had the car on the road. I don't know if that was like him in the car or not. This is what TBI put out for Noah and for Jake. And right now, the warrant is only for custodial interference. So how does that impact the ability to do a multi-state search if there's not a felony warrant here?
Sorry, I had to get my audio, but I will tell you that there's so much that we could get, that police and investigators could get. I've been up, today I was up over 29 hours straight, just trying to look into things like what his email address is associated with online, what his Instagram handle is associated with online, what he's been liking, sharing, commenting on, tagging his friends in, the crowd that he hangs out with online. All of that information is super vital. And if there's a warrant to retrieve that information from companies like Google, from companies like Facebook, you know, they can retrieve that and get his online signature, his web signature of everything he's been doing, and it could help so much. But with the current warrant that he has out, that's not enough to get that information from Google or Facebook.
And they're not treating anything on the Amber side as criminal at this point?
Not that I'm aware of.
We have some seriously flawed laws in the United States when it comes to custodial interference. Have you guys had an opportunity to get into her social medias at all? Do you know, does mom, dad know her passwords?
So we tried, or they were trying for a couple of days. You know, it happened on Friday. Sorry, my wife is sending me the previous owner info for the Subaru. We had a friend help us out. She reached out to us and created an online account with the Tennessee Department of Transportation. But you know, of course, when it happened on Friday, you know, I live in Texas. They're trying to get all that information, her email, password, logins, so that they could try to, you know, work through some of that stuff and get it figured out. It wasn't until, I want to say, Monday or Tuesday when they were able to actually log into some of those accounts. So we were able to get some of what we could see, whether it's videos or messages, some of that kind of stuff. And I don't know, because I didn't spend a whole lot of time looking at what they were able to retrieve. But when investigators found out that we were logging into, you know, their accounts, they reached out to us and asked us to stop. And I understand why. You know, they want to be able to track to see if she's logging into these accounts. They don't want us logging into all these accounts, because then it's showing that she's connecting, and they want to be able to make sure that when she connects, we know it's her and we can jump on it. So I understand that. But yeah, they reached out. They told us, hey, don't log into that kind of stuff. You know, you're kind of messing things up. And, you know, we understood and we stayed out of it. And then I believe a day or two later, I mean, it was probably no more than 24 hours, the investigators called and asked Jamie Amber's mom for all the login information so that they could kind of log in and do the same things that we were trying to do. And hopefully maybe more, hopefully maybe a lot more. Like I said, I've been out day and night, trying to trace all these online signatures and stuff. And there's quite a bit of stuff out there. They just
and
need to
every
make sure
day is critical here.
Absolutely. I mean, we're on day 7.
And I haven't seen the story getting a ton of exposure yet, which is tragic. This is 2 children that are missing. Someone in the chat wants to know whether or not Amber's mom could pursue kidnapping charges, even though her daughter left willingly, because she's still a minor.
No. Yeah, she's tried that many, many times. I mean, her mother's been on the phone with not only the investigator handling the case, but the police department is just trying to talk to somebody to see if we can elevate this, to try to see if we can, do something more. And unfortunately, the only thing they keep telling her is, all we can do is she's a missing person. She's a runaway.
But she's a minor.
Even though she's in the company of somebody that's trying to pursue the things that he is with a minor.
I don't understand how a minor can be a missing person. Like, she's a minor. I mean, like, not
no
like
idea.
why we wouldn't classify her as. I just don't understand how a minor, she's a child. Your sister must be going. If I were your sister, I would be losing my mind right now.
Each day that passes, both Noah's family and this family, it gets worse by the day. Sometimes you feel like you're making progress, and you feel like, wow, I'm really close. This might be something. We might be able to find them. Whether you're driving somewhere, because one of the very, very amazing folks on Facebook give us a tip. Or whether you find something online trying to trace some of these signatures and the history of what he's been doing, and then it just seems like another day goes by, and
nothing.
You have to remind yourself in these situations. You have to remind yourself to eat. You have to remind yourself to drink. You have to try the best that you can to sleep, and each day gets worse and worse. All we want to do is bring our babies home.
And so she left a note, and a part of that note was released. You guys put this out on Facebook. I just want to show this. This was the letter she wrote to Anna, who's her sister. And this is heavily.
That's a letter to Anna, her sister.
And it's very heavily redacted, which is fine. But it says, "I'm leaving you a box that Uncle Jake gave me that has feathers in it and really cool rocks and a bag of his cologne." Why she would have a bag of his cologne is weird. And that didn't it say like something about tears on the bag?
Yeah, so there was no cologne in those bags. I mean, it smelled like she sprayed cologne maybe on one of the bags. Our assumption is, or maybe there was cologne. We don't know, but the bag was labeled, my tears. And maybe, she's looking at this metaphorically or something. Jake has her on this like spiritual level of thinking where, holistically, this or spiritually awakening this. So we have no idea if it has some sort of, different kind of hidden meaning to it, or if it's simply what it's labeled. But yeah, it was, it says it was a bag of cologne and it was labeled my tears. And that box is very unique. It's there are items in that box that seem to tie to different types of meanings that, I can't really go into detail because none of it's proven, and I don't want to put information out there that's just not accurate or anything. But, like the feather, the rocks, the color of the rocks, even the mask, you would think it's just a mask in a box.
Yeah, there's a mask in a box, and there looks like there might be there's a crystal. This looks like amber down here. Feathers, some coins, and then there's these bags up here that are apparently supposed to be his cologne. And then on the letter, it says, if you get lonely and miss me, you can look up to the sky, the stars, and I'll always be looking back. Does that make you fear that they might hurt themselves?
I mean, everything. I mean, your mind goes crazy in this type of a situation, right?
Yeah.
You think of every possible outcome, but your mind always settles on the worst possible outcome. So it's always very taxing, very hard. But yes, absolutely, we have those suspicions, right? But
This is not a statutory situation. Where she comes from, I keep seeing this come up in the comments. She is 16, and the state she lives in, the age of consent is 18, and this is her. You can't consent with your uncle. It's illegal. We need to stop talking about this like they are two people that are like separate and not related. This is an incestuous predator.
yes.
It says, I know this is going to be really hard for you, but if you makes it easier, just make me a grave. What?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So we try. We've been trying to find out, what the meaning behind that is, and so far we're not really turning anything up, even with all of his digital signatures online and what he's been doing and all that kind of stuff. We haven't really been able to. I specifically have spent, a lot of time, trying, and and Amber's whole group of aunts and cousins have been working on not only that but many other things, and we haven't really been able to turn anything up on that meaning. It does, however, raise a lot of concern, when you're talking about a grave in the backyard, especially when you're talking about a grave to come visit me.
Well, you look up to the sky and you can see me, and then I'll always be looking down at you, and then you can make a grave for me.
Right. Well, I mean, and in some of the, I say there isn't really a connection, but and I want to make this very clear. This is me going online and connecting with folks that work in this kind of I guess you could say, YouTubers, investigators, crime junkies, all that kind of stuff, right? I've been fortunate to have enough folks reach out to me and work with me, and I mean day and night. I've got one lady, and I won't mention her name just because I don't know if she wants me to. She's worked with me 19 hours straight trying to figure some of this stuff out. So it's insane. But when there are things that I've found that kind of tie into that whole spiritual, universal awakening. If you look at his Instagram, you'll see a lot of this stuff. Really, you just need to look at the Instagram and Google some of that stuff. And there's ideas of even like a dark mountain cult or something. And again, this is nothing proven. This is just looking into some of this stuff, but it does make you think about the grave situation, because there's possibilities of child sacrifice, so.
Yeah.
And please, guys, again, this is nothing proven. This is just, when you go online and look at some of the stuff that Jake's associated with and involved himself with in conversations and tagging and sharing online, this is some of the stuff that comes up. But it does raise a lot of alarms. We don't know, and it makes us feel like as if every minute and every hour and every day didn't count before.
Yeah.
It feels like it really, really counts right now.
Yeah. And you've got to feel helpless.
100%.
Yeah. And that person that helped you actually reached out to me. So, she's very dedicated to these kinds of cases. She's got a heart of gold.
She has helped me just tremendously, so much. And without her, I wouldn't have been able to connect with you or to connect with, other folks to try to get this word out. So it's amazing to have folks out there with a heart as big as she has, or even, you have, and all the folks that are helping us out. And we can't express enough how much we appreciate it.
We will keep helping no matter what we can. Like I said, for all people that are watching, it's so important that when you see these posters, you share them. We have not gotten, there's been a little bit of media coverage on this, but it hasn't been a lot of national coverage. So please share the posters. There's a phone number that has been scrolling this entire time on the banner. If you're going to post about this on social media, the family asks that you use Bring Noah Home and Bring Amber Home. And you're asked to call Gallatin Police Department or the Ohio County Central Dispatch. He is driving a silver Subaru Legacy. That's what they believe. That could have changed. And there's continued chatter that they are at the Piggly Wiggly in Alabama, but they've said repeatedly during this video that that is not confirmed. And if they were there, they would find the kids.
Exactly.
So what would Amber be like? Tell us about Amber outside of what this has been going on. We found out a little bit about Noah. What is Amber like?
I mean, Amber loves country music. She loves being outdoors. You know, she's a very just compassionate person, loves helping people. Ideally, if we spot them, it may be one of two ways, right? It may be that they're at a gas station or driving down the road or whatever, or at a gas station. I doubt you're going to see Jake, a 6'7" tall, standout kind of guy, walk into the gas station, right? Our suspicion is that, you know, he would stay in the vehicle or something, but, you know, ideally you're probably going to see Amber with Noah. She's going to be taking care of Noah. She has a passion for kids, right? You're going to, if we see them spotted, Amber is going to be with Noah. When she's down south with us in Texas, you know, we have friends that, you know, they wouldn't never pay anybody to babysit. They don't trust anybody with their kids. 10 minutes with Amber and they're like, hey, can she move down here? And we're going to pay her full time as a babysitter. You know, she's that great with kids. Kids love her and she has a passion for that kind of stuff. So
this is a truly tragic situation. And I'll continue to share stuff. And if things happen and come up and you guys want to continue to use this platform, you have full access to me 24/7. I can't promise I'll immediately respond, but I will keep my DMs on for you. How can people help you guys?
Well, first of all, let me clear something up. Amber's mom messaged me and asked me to clear this up when I was talking about how long that relationship had been. There was a point in time where Amber's father was out of the picture, and at that point in time, Jake was pretty well out of the picture as well. And she says it was a 10-year gap between the time that they saw them between the time that they reconnected in Kentucky when they moved down last year, and the time that so there's a pretty big gap. I think it's like 10 years. So when I talked about her being groomed over the course of many years, over 5 years, it's really looks like that wasn't correct information. So I want to make sure that's cleared up. Just when you go back and look at pictures from over 10 years ago, you can see that he was connecting with Amber a lot more than the other kids. And that's kind of what I was referring to.
Okay.
What people can do to help us out is continue to share. I mean, if you're willing, you know, contact us, ask for a PDF of the flyer. We'd be more than happy to send that to you. If there's volunteers that are going to get out there and put these flyers out, I talked to, you know, we're driving down the road and I talked to a lady at a truck stop, and she said, you know, that if you guys fax us a flyer, we'll be more than happy to put it up. And typically a lot of truck stops will ask that you fax them information. So if there's volunteer warriors out there that want to go out there and try to connect with truck stops and try to print flyers and try to do that stuff, just reach out to myself or Adam, and we'll get that information out to you for you to be able to do that kind of stuff. And then, you know, of course, if you don't have that kind of time, because everybody has a busy life, you know, and you're scrolling through social media, at the very least, grab that post and share that post, please, because we really need to get this out there. Hashtag is important. You know, I'm social media illiterate, you know. My friend in the UK has helped me realize that over the past few days, but hashtags are very important. So when you're posting, you know, when you're sharing, please make sure you do those two hashtags. Hashtag bring Amber home, hashtag bring Noah home, because when folks search for Amber Clare or they search for Amber and all that kind of stuff on the internet, that's the type of stuff that's going to help it get bumped up to the top so that we can kind of spread that kind of information a lot faster.
Yep. So make sure that I have posted the flyers on my Facebook, which is at Without a Crystal Ball. It's also on my Instagram. This video, make sure you guys give it like, share it out. It'll tell the story and help you guys better understand this. And they have a Facebook group if you want to join, which is Bring Noah and Amber Home Safe, which I'll put into the chat right now that you can feel free to join. Try to be extremely kind to the family. They are going through an incredible amount of stress. Please leave the negativity at the door and the victim blaming here. There's enough blame. Fingers pointing doesn't help. The goal is to bring the kids home.
Right. And the Facebook page that we created for both of them is also extremely important. If you want to access up-to-date real-time information that you know is only being released by the family, and then the Facebook page would be the place to go. Bring Amber and Noah home on Facebook.
I couldn't find that one. Bring Amber and Noah home. And I want to see a page. I only see Amber and Noah, bring Noah home.
Let's see what we got here. And, the other thing is we do not like to ask for donations or money, and we're not going to, but we did put in the GoFundMe link to help raise money. When RC, Amber's dad, went chasing some of these leads, specifically in Dothan, Alabama, he had to miss a little bit of work, and we suspected that they would terminate his employment, and sure enough, he did. And he is the only income source in that household. So if anybody, I'm not, if we don't have it, you don't have it. But sharing that link for the GoFundMe is going to be extremely important too, because there are folks that are going to jump in and donate. And the Facebook page that my wife just sent me, it's actually called Bring Amber Clare and Noah Clare Home. And I'm working on grabbing that link to share with you guys right now.
I have, okay, I've got, when you have the link, I will post it in the description. The GoFundMe is listed. There's also a one for Noah's family as well. And someone wants you to use the hashtag Clare family, but I don't know that that decision is going to be made here. And if you guys want to join the Facebook group, both James and Adam are in there and answer questions as well. So we will continue to get the word out for you. Keep me updated, please. Oh, James has got the link.
That is for, that's for the Facebook page.
Okay. So here is, that's the Facebook page to follow. All right. Thank you so much, James. And Adam dropped off. Sorry, Adam. Thank you for sharing as well. We will keep getting the word out for you guys. And if you guys want to think about donating, there's the links in my description box. And I will also put the groups in the description box as well. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so sorry that this is how we met today.
Thank you, Katie. You have I can't express enough. And thank you all, everybody that's even sharing, liking, doing everything. We are going to get these babies home. We're very confident. Pray every day. God will bring them back to us. So thank you. And we can't express it enough.
You're welcome. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please, please, please share, like, do what you can to help this family. I'll be back later with more. Bye, guys.